Hello again, Brian King here. And well, first and foremost, I need to know who's here. So feel free to like, comment, love, anything you want to let me know that you're here. Just say hi in the comments. That works too. Today is an important topic. And as I typically like to do with my videos, I'm going to keep it simple and concrete so it's something you can use right away. We'll be talking about agreements. Whether people realize it or not, the foundation of our relationships are agreements, whether they are spoken or unspoken. A spoken agreement is, hey, I don't appreciate it when you swear around me. Can we agree that you're not going to do that again because it offends me and makes me uncomfortable? And your buddy says, oh yeah, sure, man, sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Yeah, I won't swear around you again. It's a verbal agreement. And if that's violated because your buddy becomes frustrated and swears, you say, hey man, I thought we had a deal here. I thought we had an understanding, different words that mean agreement. I thought we had an agreement that you weren't going to swear in front of me. Oh, yeah, sorry, man, I forgot. So the apology on the other end means that this buddy of yours also values the agreement, is going to work towards, hey, whoever sent me the love, thank you, is going to work towards maintaining that agreement as well. Now, here's an unspoken agreement. An unspoken agreement, which is common in way too many relationships, is when someone continues to treat you like garbage. They make appointments with you. Hey, when they make appointments with you that they don't keep. They promise they're going to keep something secret, and they don't. They insult you, and you just suck it up instead of speaking up for yourself. What you unwillingly do or subconsciously do is because there was no consequence, there was no negative feedback or any cost for them treating you like that, that's a way of giving them unspoken permission to keep doing it. Because you didn't say, stop it. Don't do that again. That hurts my feelings. If you want to stay in this relationship, don't ever do that again. And agreements are basically understandings between you and another person about things that must happen in a relationship and things that must not happen in a relationship. Okay? The musts are things like, you need to treat me with respect. Now let's discuss what respect looks like. Specific examples. Now, if I am sad, you agree to support me, you agree to show me some consideration, some compassion. If it's an intimate relationship, there are some agreements about how to initiate affection with each other. And there's also the right to accept, or there's an expectation that you accept somebody else's boundaries. So if you initiate affection and the other person's not up to it and says no to you, part of the agreement is that you accept and respect that boundary. So agreements exist through every aspect of a relationship. And again, it's the things that must happen and the things that must not happen. So a way to think of an agreement in general is it's an understanding about how to do us. How do we do our relationship with each other? When we are doing us, what does it look like? What do we do? What do we don't do? Okay, does this make sense so far? Please comment below. Let me know if this is making sense, because if it isn't, feel free to ask me to clarify anything that you need me to straighten out for you. Because it makes sense in my head, just like everybody else. Our own beliefs make perfect sense in our head, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the world is on board. So Win, Shirley, anything you've heard so far, if you want me to expand on it, if you want me to clarify, just jump right in and tell me. Joy, thank you very much. Makes good sense. Win, you agree. Appreciate it. So let's keep rolling here. And we both know that the essential ingredient to a close connected relationship is trust. And the way you have trust is through consistency. The consistent honoring of your agreements. So the things you say you must do and must not do. When you see your partner being consistent in honoring those things, then you know you can trust this person. Make sense? But it all comes down to the agreements. I hear between parents and kids all the time. The parent has a rule. You don't do this in my house, or you're supposed to do this, and then they scold the child for breaking that rule that was never discussed, and the child will say, I didn't agree to that. And the parent will say, well, I don't care. This is my house, blah, blah, blah. All right, what just happened? There was no agreement. The parent had it in mind that, well, this is a universal principle because I'm the parent and I can just decide laws, willy-nilly. And my child just simply needs to cave and bow to my authority because that's the way it works. No, it doesn't. Your child will push back. And we both know that if you have a kid with ADHD or Asperger's, these kids are genetically wired with Olympic class stubbornness. So they will push back. Either it will be overt, they'll yell at you, they'll threaten to throw things, or they'll just shut down, they'll dig in, won't talk to you, give you the silent treatment. The better arrangement here is to establish a spoken agreement. And for some of our kiddos that have poor working memory or poor impulse control, you need this agreement in writing. Because that way your kid can't play dumb. They can't say, well, I didn't agree to that. Oh, I don't remember talking about that. Well, let me remind you. Here it is in writing. Here's my signature. Here's your signature. Now, if the problem here, which is likely not the agreement, the problem here is poor memory, poor impulse control, unwillingness to accept personal responsibility, whatever it is, let's figure out how we can support you in building that skill so that you can honor this agreement. So you see how the agreement can be a beginning to a larger conversation. Agreement in writing, absolutely, Shirley. I thought you'd like that one. So let's talk about what some of the essential agreements are in a relationship. And these are things that need to be very conscious and things that kind of need to be spoken to make sure you're on the same page. And just in my own understanding of relationships and agreements, I've come down to 4 essential agreements that need to be present in relationships. Okay, you ready for these? Okay. The first agreement is that you're in a partnership to begin with, that you are working together in some way. I had a conversation with a parent earlier today where there's a lot of a mismatch in the classroom between the student and the teacher, where the student wants help, the teacher wants him to do it himself. Okay, so clearly there's no agreement there around how support is going to be given. There's no agreement around self-advocacy. How do you let me know you need help, and do I agree to give it to you when asked? And so because the student believes, hey, you should be here to help me, and the teacher believes, no, I'm here to foster independence, it's going to be really hard for those two to come together. So there has to be a spoken agreement on how is help advocated for, how is it received. Make sense? So there has to be that first agreement that we are partners. We are not working for competing goals, opposing goals in some way, which this teacher and student were. Now, the second agreement is, where's the power differential? Is our partnership win-win? Is it win-lose? Or is it lose-lose? Okay? Win-win means that we both feel like not only do we get something from it, but we feel supported by you in helping me get it. So by us working together, we help make each other stronger. So the best win-win relationships are ones that are complementary. I'm not good at this, you're good at this, let's work together, we'll succeed together, and we'll both feel successful. Right? So back to the classroom analogy. Hey, I'm having a hard time with this math problem. Can you help me, teacher? Yes, I can. Now, I feel better about my abilities because you taught me, and the teacher feels better about his or her abilities because she instructed and got the results she wanted. It's win-win. This can happen in a spousal relationship too. My wife is a phenomenal organizer. I am not. I'm phenomenal at chasing squirrels and other shiny objects, and she is much better at keeping me on track. So when I have some difficulties or I need to organize something, I can ask her, and she can either help me do it and explain her reasoning, or she can just knock it out in a few minutes and say, hey, Bri, is this what you were looking for? And then I can thank her profusely and sincerely for allowing me to borrow her skills so I can be more effective. She feels helpful. I feel helped. It's a win-win. Okay? Then the other power differential is win-lose. Where do we see this? We see this a lot between parents and children. We see it in workplaces. We have a supervisor that really gets off on belittling people and leveraging that authority they have. Supervisors who don't care how you feel, don't care what kind of day you're having, just as long as his or her will be done. Do what I say, the way I say it, when I say it. No excuses. Don't give me any back talk. Just do it. That is not a great way to build morale in the workplace. And it sure as heck is not a way to build morale in a family. Because what you're essentially saying is your needs don't matter. You are an agent of my will. You are here to satisfy my needs. You do it because I said so. You do it because I'm the parent. I don't care about your needs. This is horrible, folks. There are people that still do this. And what kids begin to learn is my needs don't matter. You don't care about my needs. So after a while, some of these kids begin to believe, well, if you don't care about my needs, you don't care about what I want, why should I care about you? And then these kids begin orchestrating or facilitating the lose-lose scenario. Because you're always putting them on the losing end. They want fairness. They want things to be more equal. They'd like for things to be win-win, but it doesn't seem like you're game for that. So, if it can't be win-win, let's make it lose-lose. How do they do that? They start acting out. They start calling you names. They start doing things that make you just as upset as they are. And when you're both upset, you're both equal. Now it's fair. So if you have a kid that's pushing back a lot, heck, if you have a coworker that is very passive-aggressive and likes to do little things to sabotage you getting the results that you want, or sabotages a colleague to get what they want, this is somebody who is angry. But they don't feel safe in putting it out there and getting in your face, so they do it very subversively. Passive aggressiveness is still aggression. And whenever you have a child that is orchestrating some kind of a lose-lose scenario, then this is a child that thinks that your relationship is unfair, that your relationship has a power imbalance, that this child believes they're getting nothing out of their partnership with you. This is not good. Because in order to be an effective asset, role model, advocate for your child needs to believe that you're in it together to win. That's so critical. But let me recap the first two agreements so that there's some continuity here. So as we discussed so far, the first agreement is that you're even in a partnership, that you are agreeing to work together in some way. The second agreement is whether the partnership is win-win, win-lose, or lose-lose. And we talked about how each one of those can get established and where they are most likely to show up. Now here's the third agreement. The third agreement is what is the agreed upon outcome, which is what is the experience we want to have as a result of our partnership. Do we want to feel like we've had fun? Let's say it's a couple of friends that want to get together to go see a new movie. Hey man, you want to have some fun tonight? Yeah, sure. What do you have in mind? Hey, let's go check out this new movie. Okay, you go see the movie together, and as you come out, you say, man, that was a lot of fun. Now you've just validated that you achieved the outcome that you had in mind. People that get in intimate relationships, they want to feel loved. They want the experience of intimacy. They want the experience of connectedness. So you have agreements that you form around how to meet those needs because that's the outcome you want. Make sense? Now let's talk about the fourth agreement. What is the process for achieving that outcome? Now this is where people tend to fall apart. This is where the agreements tend to get really shut up. When you say to your partner, I really want to feel listened to. I really want to feel loved. Okay, honey, I'll show you. I'll make sure that I listen better, and I'll make sure that I never let you forget that I love you. But there's no agreement for how that's to be done because it's assumed that you think about things the same way. Let me give you a case in point between a mother and a son that I worked with a few years ago. They said that it was really important for there to be better listening in their relationships. And I asked them, and they hadn't ever considered this before. No one had asked them this question. So I asked them, if you were being listened to, how would you know it? What would the other person be doing? And the son said, well, my mom would be looking at me. She wouldn't be doing anything else. And that's how I would know that she was listening to me. Mom, however, was a very proud multitasker. Mom believed that if she was doing the dishes or balancing her checkbook or doing something else while she was listening to somebody, she was being an effective listener. So they realized immediately that they were totally on different bases when it came to what it meant to be listened to. And Mom's definition of being listened to had to do with verbal feedback. I need to hear, I understand, that makes sense to me, as opposed to the son who wanted to simply quietly listen. Thanks for joining, Lori. This is part 2 of the video because I forgot to give the rest of it. So you'll be able to find the beginning of this, hopefully in close proximity to this on my profile. So the fourth agreement is the how, essentially. The how do we keep our agreements? If we agree to respect one another, how do you know that you're being respected? What does the other person need to do to show you respect? There are couples that are more traditional. You show me you respect me when you open the door for me when we're going into a restaurant. You show respect for me by complimenting me on my outfit. If I didn't have those specifics, I'd blow it, period. I know a lot of guys would blow it. We need to know what respect looks like to you. We need to know what love looks like to you. What does it take for you to feel loved? Do you need someone to hug you when you walk through the door at the end of the day? Or do you need someone to get out of your face and give you 20 minutes to decompress and transition from work to home before even uttering a word to you? Those things are critical to know. How do we do this together? When your child comes home from school, is the first question that your child wants to hear is, so how was your day? Or does your child need to transition? Maybe the first thing your child needs is a quick snack. It's been a long time since lunch. My kids have these obscene lunch hours. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. Seriously? And that's because there's more students than there is room. So they're having to move lunch hours at these obscene times. Some kids have their lunch too late in the day, and their blood sugar has dropped and it's affected their studies. So they come home a little cranky, tired, maybe even frustrated. And the last thing they want to do is have a happy-go-lucky conversation with you about their day. They want to reboot. They want an opportunity to shift, leave school behind them, and adjust to home. And sometimes they want to watch a show for half an hour. They want to play a little bit of their video game. They want a snack, maybe something sweet, maybe something salty. Whatever helps them feel good, gives them a boost of dopamine so they feel a little happy again, okay? Because that little agreement for how do I support you when you walk through the door can make or break the rest of that evening for you. Helping the child make that shift so they can feel happy and centered and home again, then you can have the conversation of, tell me about your day. What went right today? What did you enjoy? Is there anything you need my help with? Is there any homework that we need to sit down and do together? So having these 4 agreements are just the foundation for getting started. You need to have these things in place before you can start discussing the additional, these are the musts. When you have a problem, I must set aside time to listen to your problem. May not be in the moment. I might be in the middle of something. My boys come home from school and they know I might be working with a client, and it might not be something that can wait, but they know that we can kind of schedule for later. Hey, buddy, I can't talk to you right now, but I want to because I have agreed to listen to you when you have a concern. Give me half an hour. And when that half an hour is over, I will keep my agreement to you. Even little things like that seem common sense, in the spectrum world, they're not common sense. Our kids learn these things through direct instruction, not through osmosis. We don't want them to assume it either. We want them to know it. That's why we have to discuss it. And by keeping those agreements to them, they trust me. They know they can come to me and feel safe about it. They know they can feel supported. They know someone's always got their back. They're not alone because they've made agreements that they know will be kept. So hopefully you understand how powerful this is. You know, it sounds simple, and that's good, because the more simple it is, the easier it is to remember and implement. You know, you don't need 10 steps to this or 10 steps to that. You need a few steps that are very laser focused, create that specific shift you're looking for in your life, in your relationships, to create the benefit or the outcome that you want. Now, you hear the chiming in the background? That means it's time to get started. Nice way I kind of spontaneously worked that in. Yeah, I'll pat myself on the back later. So tell me if this has been helpful for you. You know, I've put a lot out there in past 15 minutes or so. Let me know what has worked for you. What about this is helpful to you? And let me know what else I can talk to you about. You know, you were wonderful on the video yesterday telling me the things that other topics that you wanted me to discuss. Please keep doing that, because I do these videos for you to be helpful. So give me some additional topics that you want me to discuss. And if I feel they generalize enough, and they usually do, I'll be happy to make a video of it for you. Now, one question I want to ask you, thank you, Joy, I'm glad this was helpful for you. One question I want to ask you is, who do you know that can benefit from this video? Do you know other parents that are always butting heads with their kids? That you have your agenda, and it seems like your child has an agenda, and you simply can't get on the same page. And that parent really needs some education in how to form agreements with that child, especially win-win. Share this video with them so that they too can have these tools and benefit from them. So who do you know? Who can you share this with as soon as we're done talking? And again, let me know how I can support you, because that's why I'm here. You know, I have ADHD, my boys have ADHD, all three of my boys have Asperger's. I know how hard it is to raise these kids. I know what it's like to feel frustrated and helpless when you're giving it your all, but you feel like you're just not getting anywhere. I've been there, I've felt it, and I've gone beyond it. My kids are now exceeding my own expectations because of the work we've been able to accomplish together. So ask me your questions. I'm here to help. And make as many comments and ask as many questions as you want to underneath this thread so we can learn together. We benefit from each other's questions, and we benefit from each other's tips. So thank you, everybody, for joining. If you came late, you can start from the beginning. Thank you again for being here. It's really an honor to be able to come into your life and provide a little help. This is Brian King. We'll talk again soon.